Well, Breasties, it's like the good old days. It's just Cass and Kris here, in your ears. I like it.
I know. It's exciting.
It's exciting.
It's been so lovely speaking to all of these incredible people that we have been interviewing, but it's also really nice just to have a breasty chat.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So season 3 is all about that. A bit of both. Why not both?
Why not both? I mean, apparently people miss the banter.
Yeah. I mean, I don't blame them. I miss our banter. We have not seen each other for as much as we'd like.
Yeah, that's true. We've done a lot of virtual.
Yeah, we have
Yeah.
done. Yeah.
Mm.
We've had a long break, which has been really nice.
Mm-hmm.
I feel nice and refreshed.
Yes. Ready to get back into it and ready to bring up some topics around the issues surrounding mastectomy.
Yeah. And we've been doing a lot of thinking over that time. And we really wanted to start today by, well, do you want to give us the background, give our breasties the background information around how we arrived to this topic?
Well, we were just thinking because it's been a year roughly. We'll get into that later. But it's been a year roughly since we first started planning breast case scenario and how we could show up in this space to support others. And it got us thinking a little bit about anniversaries because it's also 1 year since I had my surgery and it's 2 years since you had yours.
Yeah. Well, how time flies when
When
you're having fun.
To be honest, the last year has been fun.
It has.
It has.
It's been amazing.
Before that, not so much, but yeah. So yeah, we were sort of thinking about what anniversaries in this space mean to us
and to others.
Exactly, and how they are, I guess, for want of a better word, celebrated or commemorated or reflected upon or yeah.
And that looks really different with people we know, but also on social media as well, because we're so heavily in this space. We see the different ways that people want to commemorate their anniversaries, 1 year, 2 more, and so on. So are you the celebratory type?
I love celebrating.
Same.
I will celebrate a win anywhere for anything and anyone.
Even little things I get a little bit too excited about.
Oh, can you get too excited though? I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
No.
I think it can be annoying for some people.
I feel that, yes, I love to celebrate. How about you?
Yeah, I do. I get easily excited. Anything, it can be anything. I'm happy to find a reason to celebrate. But I think the trouble is with me, and you might be the same, is that anything to do with a date, I'm fucking horrendous at. Really bad.
I love every year. We've been friends for how many years? Like,
I don't know.
Like we're pushing up to 20. Like it's between 15, 20, right? And every year it's a different date that Christy will message me for my birthday. Every year.
I know it's the 7th or the 8th.
No, but sometimes it's the 13th.
I know, and sometimes it's the wrong month.
I'll be like, but it's the 13th. I'm like, pretty sure it's not. So yeah, and you're not alone because I am not a date holder necessarily. I find the magic in numbers. I find dates magical, but I don't necessarily hold on to a date with an emotional charge.
You're like a lunar girl.
I am I'm a bit of a lunar girl. I'm a lot of a lunar girl, but I feel like it's when you are giving all of your energy to the date, you're handing your power to that date. And as an example, I remember, 20 years ago coming up when Mum's anniversary used to roll around.
Yeah.
And I was so hyper-focused on that date of being a date of grief that it would knock me out for a month. So it would be beforehand. I'd be this anticipation of a date coming up and what's that going to do to me emotionally and mentally. And then I realized over time, I miss her every day in some capacity. Why am I handing all this power over to a date that then derails me? So I think in that kind of realization for me, and this is very individual, it made me realize that, I mean, yeah, it's just a date. The essence of what we're living with is every day.
That's so true. I've actually never thought about it like that. And it's actually really freeing. It means you can remember and reflect whenever you want.
That's right. You're not tied down. And I started really embodying that, and so much so that when my husband and I were planning our wedding, there are only certain dates that, anybody who's planned a wedding, which I would never do again, mind you, you're always scraping for dates. And it's like, oh, you can line this person up on this date. Da, da, da. Everybody knows how it goes. And there was one date where we could get all the ducks in a row for this wedding. And we're just like, book it, done. And I messaged a girlfriend the date, and she's like, are you sure you want to do that? I'm like, yeah, that's the date where everybody's available. And she had to remind me it was my mum's anniversary.
Oh, wow.
So we got married on mum's anniversary.
And she was so concerned for you.
She was, because she knew that in the past it had completely derailed me, that date. And I would be so grief-stricken. And yeah, so she was really concerned that it would not be a great day for me because of that.
And it was amazing.
Well, it was. Yes, it was a beautiful day.
Even though Phil got lost.
Phil got lost. I didn't really want to have a wedding. There were lots of things,
My dress broke.
Your dress broke. Yeah. They were quite, they weren't the best. But looking back on the wedding photos, it's like,
I was vigorously dancing though.
There was a lot of amazing dancing going on. But yeah, so I think the date thing for me has been something that I've learned to let go for my own benefit.
Yeah. And that's nice. I don't think I've learned to let go. I think I've just given up. Because talking of weddings and then subsequent anniversaries, Phil and I are so hopeless. So every year, I reckon for the first 7 or 8 years we were married, I would try so hard to remember. And then I'd say on I think it was May the 9th, happy anniversary. And he's like, that's not our anniversary. That's our best friend's wedding anniversary. I'm like, and I used to get confused. And he said that was a month ago. So yeah, in the end, we just roll with it.
Yeah, I think, and I guess we would love the feedback too. If dates matter to you, let us know why.
Yeah.
Like, what is significant for you about remembering a date or commemorating a date,
and what does it do for your healing or the way you commemorate whatever it is, whether it be your mastectomy surgery or the end of chemo treatment or whatever that might be. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, speaking of surgery dates, you did phone me the other day and say, isn't it the anniversary of your surgery? And I went, I don't know. That was only a year ago.
Yeah.
And then I said to you, no, it was the 24th. And then I had this feeling deep within that it absolutely was not the 24th. And I made that up and I checked and it was not the 24th.
I knew it was around Australia Day because I think it was Australia Day. I was like, what was I doing this time last year? And I remember it was
the 20th.
Time.
Yeah. So we were close. Yeah. We were both close.
Yeah, close enough.
Close enough.
And then what did we do? We just moved on to the next conversation.
It was like, I think so.
It's interesting. And the reason, part of our conversation and deep dive into this topic was in one of the Facebook posts that I follow. I remember someone putting up a post expressing their real disappointment and because their family and friends had not remembered their 1 or 2 year anniversary of their cancer diagnosis. And so I started reflecting on that and thought, what are the expectations, I wonder, we expect of people when we want to commemorate an anniversary. And
Mm.
yeah, what are the expectations of people? I guess I'm going to open that up to you and see what you think about that.
Yeah, well, when you said that to me, when we were sort of having a chat about this episode, the first thing that came up for me in that disappointment, which I'm really honoring as well, because that's very legitimate to feel disappointed that nobody remembered you on a day that was so significant to you. So, really paying respect to that first and foremost. But for me, disappointment over that perhaps could be related to other things and other ways that needs are not being met in that relationship in the first place. If you're constantly getting the feedback of love and support from your family, and they're always supporting you, for throughout the process, I don't know that it would matter so much potentially to have that date forgotten. But I feel like if they're already not supporting you in the ways that you had hoped for, forgetting a date is just kind of like, the icing on the cake of feeling a bit neglected. Yeah.
And I think that's partly the reason why I don't really think hard about the dates. Like I kind of remember the month, but for me, it's an internal reflection. And it's interesting. Actually, I just the other day I was reaching out to someone that we want to interview, and the reason I wanted to interview this person, her name is Dr. Charlotte Tottman. Charlotte, if you're out there, respond to my message. Really, we really want to talk to you. Anyway, the reason we want to talk to her was leading up to my surgery. I was desperately looking for something that wasn't surgical, and it was probably the germination of this breast case scenario idea, but looking at how we can look after ourselves mentally post surgery. And Dr. Charlotte Tottman has an amazing podcast episode on this, and I'll put the links in the chat around that. But I knew that once I'd listened to that, I actually reached out to her, which is unlike me on Instagram, just to let her know that I really enjoyed it. And I got really emotional because when I read back what I'd said, it reminded me about how I felt. Because you so easily forget.
You do.
But
You do.
I'm going to actually read it out because it says, thank you for your episode. Oh, here it is. Mirror image on the Upfront podcast. In 3 days' time, I'm about to undergo a double mastectomy. It has been incredibly hard as a 42-year-old woman to find a podcast that meets my needs. I don't want a reconstruction, but I'm also terrified that I don't have the mental strength to accept my impending new body. Your body type and your thoughts really resonated with me and has made me consider how to best prepare leading up to the surgery and after. Thank you so much.
Wow.
I know. And it took me back there for a moment, but then also made me really proud of how far I'd come, and the things that I'd worried about are no longer really a concern of mine. And so for me, that's a celebration.
Absolutely.
It's not about the date or about, who remembered and who didn't, but it's just that kind of, I'm patting myself on the back. No one else needs to know it.
Yes.
Well, now you all know it, but,
That's so amazing, Kris, because that's such a good point. It's the evolution of, the process and what we think we're going to be worried about or what we fear at the time. And then on the other side of it, looking at it from that perspective.
And I remember you, like, leading up to your flap surgery, and we have spoken about it in previous episodes, like watching you go through the fear, the ways you were attempting to control your emotions by informing yourself as much as you can, so you knew you would go into it with clarity, and then the last minute, I don't know if I want to do this. Like, it was all that, like, it was so, it was hard. Like, I could see how hard it was for you. And looking at you now, is just.
Yeah, it's quite like it's amazing to think that was only a year ago and that, you know, I had been through that process of preparation for that surgery. Um, and also for people who haven't listened to our other episodes, I'm also very conscious of the fact that this was a reconstruction and that I had had the original surgery almost 10 years prior and I did that electively. So I did not have cancer at the time. So I just want to also put that in there so that, my mindset was potentially in a different place to where someone who had to act fast and didn't have the luxury of sitting back and looking at all the options. And, I really want to put that in there as well for everybody to hear. But the process of coming through that fear and now sitting on the other side a year in, and I think about, and I always think about gorgeous Kris when I say the word journey now. Toot toot. Yeah, but it has been a real journey this year of processing what happened. And yeah, I would never have really anticipated what that year would have looked like for me before I did that surgery. Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
You are amazing.
Oh, you. God, stop.
I can't believe we've got a podcast off the ground and
Yeah.
people actually listen to it.
Yeah.
That was actually really
pretty amazing.
It was scary putting it out there. Yeah, and I think I'm probably proud of Cass has been really good for me by helping me separate what I do versus who I am. And so I think for my work identity, I've really worked on that over the past year. I've still got a way to go. But yeah, reflecting back, a year ago, I'd made all these promises that I'm going to, have better work-life balance, and I've, done my 5 and 4 and all of that kind of stuff. And I've kept to my 5 and 4, and I have one day off a week generally. But it doesn't change the work. So the work, depending on what it is, but for me, it's high stress, it's responsive, and it involves a lot of different challenging aspects. And so that's never ever going to go away. But what I'm proud of is the way I now emotionally manage that. So, and it's just little things like usually when I go on a break, a recreational break, it takes me 2 weeks to peel myself away from my emails, my work, my stress levels, and then I can finally relax. But now it is like a switch. I literally go like that and I can transfer. Like, I don't know what's changed about that, but I've just kind of cut it off. So I'm really proud about that.
Yeah.
And I sleep better. So no matter how stressful a day is or how much pressure I have to meet a deadline, and even if I feel like I've got something due in the morning, that would normally keep me up at night and I'd have a really broken sleep. I don't know if it's because I'm just so tired or that I actually have just removed myself somehow and cut that off, but I just sleep like a baby.
That's amazing.
I know you're in your sleep deprived era. Sorry.
That's all right. I can live vicariously through others' sleep. No, you honestly, like reflecting on that and the change in a year. I mean, and you were already coming up to a year in post your cancer diagnosis at that point. And it was like that real shedding of your old identity. And when we started this, you were in kind of on that threshold of like what's new and what's the past kind of thing. And I've just loved watching you ease into that, sometimes kicking and screaming a little over time. You've just really eased into sort of that separation that you so needed. And in all honesty, if you had not had your cancer diagnosis and the surgery that followed and the sort of integration time after that, do you think you would have made those
changes? No. I would have still been on the treadmill.
Yeah.
Like, dragging myself through every day. And it's sad because I have friends and colleagues who I watch doing what I used to do. And yeah, there's nothing that you can say
No.
that will change them.
Mm.
And yeah, it's sad that that's the way they feel like they have to engage in life. And, you know, hopefully it doesn't take something like it took for me for them to kind of, you know, just reevaluate.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, that's for them. I can only look after myself.
Like, for one, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. All right. What about you?
When I think about the year and what I am proud of stemming from the surgery, I think the thing that makes me the most proud is that I think for a long time I had done a lot of work around my body and around trying to love what I had. And it was trying.
It's so hard, isn't it?
And it was this process of getting to the next step and going, oh, okay, what? And, you know, you throw in, you know, pregnancies and births and all the rest of that into the mix as well. So I think prior to this surgery, I had been working really, really hard on just trying to think of what the right words are, because it wasn't necessarily like loving the skin you're in. That's like it was more than that. It was more than that for me. And it's only recently I have realized that in this last year, I have moved from accepting my body, like an acceptance of what it is and what it has done, to actually loving my body.
What's that feel like?
It is the best feeling I can describe of actually loving the body you're in, regardless of everything that has happened, because of everything that has happened, right? But it's not, there has been such a shift between acceptance and love. And I think that's what I'm most proud of, because now I feel is fully embodied and I can do my work in such a more impactful way, because I truly love my physical body. Never in my life, ever have I loved my body before.
I think we need to explore that now in another episode, because I love how you described or carefully chose your language around that, because the phrase accepting your body alludes to, I don't really like it. It's not what I want. I know it could be better, but you know, I'm just going to accept it for how it is. So it's kind of like settling for
what it is,
which I know is part of it.
Yeah.
But to truly love it unabashedly for its beauty and its flaws is like an elevated version of that.
Yeah, and it feels so different. Like, it feels so different to be in that place, and no longer is the focus on my body.
Yeah.
It's what my body can do. It's not how it looks. It's not how, it's not the stories that, you know, I've told about it. It's not that. It's really about, wow, I have this vessel. How lucky am I to have the vessel in the first place? It's bloody perfect. It's completely imperfect, but it's bloody perfect. And now I can use it to do my work, and I can step up.
Yeah.
Because I'm not preoccupied with that having to force acceptance anymore.
And it's also that internal monologue, right? That takes up the potential creative space.
Absolutely.
Like you said, to do the work. If you're constantly thinking, oh, I look fat in this, or you know, whatever it is that that mind is telling you. I can see that would be incredibly freeing. And I can see the involvement that you've had and the work that you've been doing on yourself, but also, you know, what you're doing in your businesses and stuff. It's very inspiring. I don't know how you find the time, but I know, because you love your body so much that you've freed it up. It's giving you the capacity.
It's giving it, yeah, it's created space for other things.
Yeah,
which is so, and I completely understand and respect that this is a long process, and you know, it's not where everyone's at, and just honoring exactly where every single person is at with the love or acceptance or otherwise of their bodies, because we've been there.
Yeah.
We have been there.
Yeah. Speaking on that, breast of the week. So Cassie's looking at me with her eyes going,
I'm like,
I haven't
have you got
thought
a
about
breast
that.
of the week?
I do have a breast of the week, so you can share mine if you'd like.
Yours.
But in regards to, I guess, freeing up space, particularly mentally, to be able to do the things that you can do. I think the other thing that I've really worked on the last 2 years is that really unconscious behavior, and that isn't always helpful, that I've embarked on, and whether it be, and it all comes from stress, right? So almost, for me, almost always does. And so when I'm stressed, I don't exercise as much. I don't sleep as much. Because I don't sleep as much, I make poor food choices, which then makes me feel like shit. And then, unconsciously drinking alcohol. And I'm not saying like a bottle a night or anything like that, but just not even thinking about what I'm putting in my body.
Yeah.
And so I felt really worn down in that space. So I'm really proud of myself for just prioritizing those simple things. I mean, they're not simple, but I've used that Reframe app. So I don't know if other people have used it. It's had amazing reviews. It's actually for people who want to either reduce their alcohol intake or eliminate alcohol from their lives. It's up to you how you do it. But for me, it's more than that. It's actually almost a retraining of the brain. And so I've been doing it for 50 days now, and you can put as much time into it as you want. So I've 10 minutes a day. So they create a 10-minute kind of learning piece that becomes just kind of this habit that I do before I go to bed at night. You can choose when it comes up as a notification, and it just makes you metacognitively aware and informs you of what's happening to your brain and body and why it's so hard to stop unconscious decision making. And so I've learned a lot about myself in the 50 days, and the triggers that make me feel like I want to eat a cheeseburger for, or not make a healthy choice, or instead of having that third drink if you're going out for work drinks, so it kind of slows down your thinking processes and actually makes you start understanding why you do the things you do. So it's not actually about giving up alcohol, it's actually changing your daily habits so that your mind is clear to make informed decisions. So I've really, really enjoyed it, and I would recommend it for anyone who's trying to do the same to get healthy.
So that's track. Reframe.
Yeah, Reframe app.
Cool.
Yeah, that's me. And in that time that I was talking about that, did you think of something for breast of the week?
Well, funnily enough, speaking of another app, I downloaded just to check it out and see what it was like. It was the Better Me app, and they had somatic workout practices for unlocking release in your body,
Do you want
trauma release.
Oh, can you talk more about somatic? I know you've mentioned it earlier in episodes, but just so our breasties know what it is.
Yeah, so you know how you were speaking about sort of getting that mindset in the right place. When you're talking about somatic experiences and therapies, you're talking about moving it through the body. So if you can get the mind and body working together in your favor, that's where you're going to have the best outcome for reprogramming, really. So yeah, the Better Me app had I know they do various workout programs for different reasons, but this one was for somatic release. So yeah, I downloaded that in they're little 7 to 10 minute workout thing. So
is this the dancing where you can dance?
No, it wasn't that one.
Oh, okay.
We need to get a subscription to that one.
Okay.
But yeah, this one was just gentle movement, very similar, like yoga poses and things like that. So yeah, it was quite good. It was quite good. There was like a trial.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right, I'm going to try that one. I've been practicing yoga almost every day now. but I need to find a space. Like last night, I was doing yoga, and one by one, every member of my family came into the room I was doing yoga in.
How many of them asked about food?
It was around dinner time. I was trying to ignore them, but I had Noah on my left talking over me to Jude, who was on the couch, about something, and then Phil, and they were just, I'm like, can't you all? But I was trying to focus, and I was thinking, oh, this is nice. They're all in the same room. It doesn't always happen, even though I'm doing down dog, like right in the middle of them. But anyway,
Oh, that's so funny.
take what I can get.
You need your own space. You need a woman cave.
A yeti. What is it?
A yurt.
Yeah, yurt.
You need
What's
a
a
yurt.
yeti?
A yeti's
That's
like an
Star Wars
abominable snowman, kind of like
Oh, yeah,
Bigfoot.
yeah.
You don't need one of them.
No, I do not need one of them. I need a yurt. Yeah.
A yurt. A women's tent.
All this meta language that I learned from Cass, it's like a whole new world. I love it. Oh, well, it's great to be back, Breasties. Let us know what you think. Anything that you want us to talk, any more deep dives you want us to go into? We'd love to
Yeah.
hear your feedback.
Love it. And let us know what anniversaries and commemorating anniversaries mean to you.
And what that looks like. And we'll share it out. Thanks, Breasties. See you next week.
Bye.